WBAL TV presents Makeup Room Confessionals.
Welcome to our new web series called Makeup Room Confessionals. I am your host, Blair Young, and I am the newest digital editor here at WBAL TV. This show is going to give you a behind-the-scenes and personal look at some of our morning crew here at WBAL. Hope you enjoy it. In this week's episode, we asked the morning crew where did they get their start in media and asked them to share one of their favorite stories from that time.
First up, we have reporter Tommy Clark.
Hello, my name is Tommy Clark. I'm a newer reporter here at WBAL TV. I'm going to tell you a little bit about when I first started in the news industry. So, for those of you who don't know, I am from Des Moines, Iowa, but I didn't start in Des Moines, the capital. I started very small. There's all these TV markets. 200 some is the smallest. I was in market 150. It was there that you do everything by yourself. So I was what's called a multimedia journalist, which meant I was the photographer, I was the reporter, I did it all by myself. I edited my stories, every single step. But one of my favorite memories from when I started was a pheasant hunt. So you may have heard I was the first in the nation caucus state. And when you are a multimedia journalist, you do it all yourself. So one of my stories was to go pheasant hunting with the Republican presidential candidates. And then we went pheasant hunting and it was quite a trek. I had a tripod that your camera goes on, a camera, a backpack. I'm climbing hills, in heels. It wasn't the best idea. I was like 20 years old, I think, so learned a lot. I remember Ted Cruz was there, all kinds of candidates. It was an interesting story, to say the least. I learned if you're going to go pheasant hunting, don't wear heels. But it was fun, and I got to learn more about the kind of people that they are, their character, and I really learned a lot at my first job.
Next up, we have Mindy Becerra.
Hi, Mindy Becerra, the morning anchor at WBAL TV, and my first on-air job in TV was at a little tiny TV station in Harrisonburg, Virginia, in the mountains, in the Blue Ridge Mountains, WHSV TV, and it was the only TV station in the market. It was actually a house that somebody had converted into a TV station, and there was actually even a swimming pool out back. That was one perk, that you got to swim in the swimming pool when you were finished with your shift. And I was a one-man band, meaning I carried all the gear, so I was the photographer and the reporter, and the gear back then was really heavy. It was something called 3/4 gear, and the gear weighed 75 pounds and I weighed about 100 pounds at the time. So it was quite a struggle, and I was not a good photographer, but it was a really good learning experience. None of us made any money there. I think we all made minimum wage. My parents were horrified that I went to college to make minimum wage in carrying all this gear around. But it was a great experience, great learning experience. It was actually a lot of fun, even though it was a lot of hard work. And the thing I liked best about it, and what I remember the most fondly, was that we all became really tight, all the reporters there, because we were all in the same boat. And we would all go out together a lot, and we went to this one pizza place that felt sorry for us because they knew we didn't make any money. And so at the end of the night, they would save pizza that was left over and give it to us for free. So we would head out at this bar and we'd have a couple beers and we'd eat the free pizza because, you know, we had no money, none of us. But it was a really interesting experience and something I'll never forget. And I learned a lot about the basics of television, especially the video part of it, because I was my own photographer. So I have a real appreciation for what photographers do because of that. So, but I'm here now and I can buy my own pizza.
Up next, reporter and anchor Theo Hayes.
Hey everyone, my name is Theo Hayes. I am the noon anchor and also the AM morning, what they call desk anchor. And I got my start in Lubbock, Texas at a duopoly. It was the CBS and the ABC station. It was combined, KLBK and KAMC, small town, Lubbock, Texas. And like most of us do, it's a small town. And actually I was not good at all. But after 2.5 years working there, they worked with me. My writing got up to par, and then in 2.5 years, I jumped to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and from there, the rest is history. I've worked in a lot of different markets. Oh my goodness, so I covered a lot of different stories. One of my favorite memories, one of my favorite stories was, sadly, a barn burned down and there were dozens of pigs in there. I know it sounds crazy, but it smelled like bacon. It made me hungry. I was sad for the piggies, but it was such a fun story because it was like exciting, it was breaking news, it was like run, the barn's burning, that type of thing.
Up next, we have traffic reporter Lacey Griffith.
Hey, I'm Lacey Griffith, morning traffic anchor here at WBAL, and looking back, I like to think that my journey to TV started when I was just a teeny tiny girl. My best friend and I used to ride our bikes around the neighborhood, and we would kind of animate and talk about what we saw on the way, the nature, and I felt like we were already getting into broadcasting. I was in the camera club in elementary school, and then in high school I was in the TV club where we did a weekly live broadcast to everyone in the community. So it just kind of unraveled without me really knowing what I wanted to do. But my very first TV job was just across the Bay Bridge, the other DMV, Delmarva. And I started at WBOC right out of college, and I loved it there. I worked my way up from weekend reporter to weekday reporter. I did mornings and then eventually morning anchor, and met my husband there, and we ended up staying because we both worked at the station and we loved the area. I got married in Ocean City and spent 7 years there. So it was a great place where we really got to learn everything, every aspect of TV, behind the scenes, in front. So it really made us appreciate this job and what everybody does to work together as a team to make it happen. So it was a good experience.
And last but not least, we have anchor Jason Newton.
Hey everybody, I'm Jason Newton. I'm anchor, reporter at Anchor 11 News Today. So I started in 2000, the year 2000, at WBOC in Salisbury, Maryland, after going to school at the University of Maryland. And I was a reporter there in the Dover Bureau, and then eventually became an anchor of the noon show and some other things. My favorite memory, or at least the most one that comes to mind, is the first day they asked me to anchor, and one of the anchors, Steve Hammond, sat next to me to go through the show. And the whole time you could hear like this thumping noise in the commercial break. He asked me, "Do you hear that too? What's that noise?" And it was my leg hitting the desk because I was so nervous getting through the first show. And now look at me, 22 years later. That's it.
Like and subscribe for more Makeup Room Confessionals.